Hey everybody. So some news about Erdogan. If you've watched my previous videos, especially the first ones about Revelation unfolding, you'll know that I believe, and I make a strong case for it in my book, Revelation Unfolding, that President Erdogan, or correctly pronounced Erdogan, of Turkey, is a very strong candidate for the Antichrist. And so those of you familiar with this, I'm not going to go into the evidence. If you want to see the evidence for it, go back and watch, look for my videos on Revelation Unfolding. I did a two-part video on examining a lot of the evidence that he may in fact be the long foretold Antichrist. But just so you know, I'm going to post an article in, a link to an article in the description of this video. But as of January 1st this year, Turkey, under the leadership of President Erdogan, took over what's called the Very High Readiness Task Force, Joint Task Force of NATO. So NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, for those of you who don't know what it is. It was formed by the United States and other European nations in order to provide a mutual defense alliance against the Soviet Union at the time and the Eastern Bloc countries of Eastern Europe, who were communists at the time behind the Iron Curtain. Russia has always hated NATO, viewed it as a direct threat to its existence. And NATO has traditionally been U.S.-led in most ways, although leadership of different things rotates between member countries. One of the main stipulations of the treaty is that if anyone attacks a member of NATO, all the other members of NATO will respond and defend the attacked country. So Turkey, years ago, was brought into NATO, and this was viewed at the time as a boon, because Turkey is right there at the intersection of Europe and Asia and the Middle East. And the hope was that Turkey would become more European and less Middle Eastern, and that this would solidify the strength and the standing of NATO against Russia. Turkey currently has the second largest military in NATO, next to the United States. Anybody paying attention to international headlines and the things Trump's been trying to do over the past 4 years, he's been trying to get other European nations to pay their fair share of the spending of the defense cost. The United States is currently bearing most of the cost. Very few of the other countries are doing so. NATO has been criticizing Turkey for a lot of things. They've been criticizing them for having their armies in Syria and poised to invade and conquer the rest of Syria. Turkey's response, Erdogan's response to this, has been, hey, sit down, don't care. We're going to do what we want to do, and I'd like to see you stop us, is basically the response. So they've also been critical of Turkey's aggression against Armenia in conjunction with Azerbaijan recently. And again, Turkey says, so what? The question is, so what? What is NATO going to do? What are you going to do, NATO? Are you going to kick Turkey out? Don't think so. And we're actually seeing the opposite. In fact, that's what this article is about. It says NATO's Very High Readiness Joint Task Force will be led by Turkey in 2021, the military bloc said on Wednesday. That was December 31st. This announcement was made. Turkey's leadership over this task force began January 1st. Why is this important? Well, it's kind of a weird name, the Very High Readiness Joint Task Force. It's basically soldiers from participating countries that are loaned to this group. And it is the quick response unit. So if NATO was going to do anything quickly, militarily speaking, this is the this is the group that would do it. And right now, for the next year, it's going to be led by Turkey. It goes to say, the approximately 4,200 troops of Turkey's 66th Mechanized Infantry Brigade Command. So remember, the total size of this task force is 6,400 soldiers. 4,200, 2/3 of them will be Turkish. The remaining 2,200 will come from Albania, Hungary, Italy, Latvia, Montenegro, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, Spain, Britain, and the United States. So we're not going to have the majority of our soldiers. Majority of this task force is not going to be made of our soldiers, nor Britain's. I think Britain and the United States will probably have the healthiest size next to Turkey in there, even though they're listed last here. But this is going to be led by Turkey, and most of the soldiers in it will be Turkey. So decision-making is Turkey. The strength of the body is going to be from Turkey. So in a scenario where we have severe civil unrest in this country, violence becomes rampant, maybe it ceases becoming clear who is a legitimate president because of election fraud, chaos begins to reign, this creates a scenario where we can see what one of the dreams saw, which was a headline that says, UN steps in to help host nation, which we are the host nation of the United Nations. And I can see China and Russia bonding together and saying, hey, the United States always has been the one to step in and help other countries when they've had civil wars or they've had strife and problems and they needed someone to come in and sort it out. So it's our turn. We're going to show that we're the new world's policeman, that we can do what the United States has always done. We're going to go help the United States sort out its problems, and they come in. And let's say that they start doing some heinous things. Maybe they don't come in quite the peacekeepers that they claim to be in international headlines. Let's say that they are actually start killing people and doing worse things than the civil unrest ever was doing. NATO would normally be obligated to come to our defense. If China and Russia invaded the United States, NATO would have to respond legally. However, it's curious that in the very year that people are seeing dreams saying that China and Russia will invade, that's the year that Turkey's in control. And Turkey will not use NATO to save the United States to come to our defense. They will say, no, stand down, NATO. This is not our fight. It's set up perfectly. Prophecy coming true before our eyes. Let's keep paying attention, but more than that, let's keep praying. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Don't fear. Don't fear. He's in control, and he's got you in his hands. But we are in interesting times. Thank you.